As part of plans to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal, the Lagos State Parks and Garages Management on Tuesday said it had put modalities in place to comply with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's directive for the implementation of 25% reduction in fares for residents of the state. But when our correspondent Ademola Lawrence went round to monitor compliance by the transport workers at different motor parks, the fares remained the same. TVC News correspondent Ademola Lawrence will join me in a moment to give us situation report on level of compliance by transport workers with the directive from the leadership, as well as reactions from commuters. But we'll get to that shortly. Let's come to Lagos, where Ademola Lawrence is standing by to give us update on the level of compliance by both motorists and commuters now with regard to the palliatives announced by the government. Ademola, just how many parks have you visited this today, and what is the level of compliance from the transport workers?
Yeah, I must tell you that the level of compliance has been very low. I've been to 3 different motor parks this morning. I went to Ojota Parks, of course I was in Ojudubeja Park, and of course at Ikeja. And I can tell you the situation have not changed. The 20% that was actually announced by the state government that should be, of course, reduced by the transport workers of the yellow buses. Of course, their union also met yesterday, and it was properly communicated to them. As a matter of fact, a task force committee was actually set up to monitor the situation of things around these motor parks. But as I went around this morning, it's still the same, and I spoke to some persons, and they are still saying that the amounts that they paid just yesterday is still what they are still paying. And I spoke to even these drivers when they've not been able to effect a change as a matter of urgency that the governor and of course their chairman of the Lagos Parks and Garages have announced yesterday. And one of the things that was brought to the fore was the fact that the transport workers, which of course the union, they have not yet of course reduced the price of their tickets, that where they load from their motor parks is still the same. So they are finding it, there's a bit of challenge for them to also reduce that price from their own hand.
All right, so were you able to then get back to the leadership of the parks and garages to see how soon they want to reduce the charges such that this policy could actually be adhered to?
Yes. No, speaking to them, most of them said once the union themselves can reduce that particular ticket that they take from their different motor parks, they can be able to effectively do the reduction of fare for them, because that is the major point for most of these drivers, of course, that apply these different routes. If the union can actually reduce by 25%, they can also reduce by 25% from their own end. And also when they spoke yesterday, I was at that particular conference yesterday where their chairman was actually addressing them that it is indeed very crucial at this particular point in time where the fuel subsidy has been removed by the president. And of course, what should be done is to find a way to help the larger society by trying to reduce the cost of transportation, because of what the governor has also said, by reducing 50% from the state side. But in the interest of it, what they are also saying, if the union can keep to their own agreements of reducing it, they would also do that with immediate effect. While speaking to them today. But one of the things that you can also make way for them is the fact that while I was speaking to them, they said that they actually need the president to also listen to them, by actually looking at the price in the fuel that is going up. They also were able to say that they understand that the president is trying to do good, by removing subsidy and the palliatives that is supposed to come out of it. But
absolutely,
they just want a speedy arrangement for that to be done.
All right, Ademola, thank you very much for that update. Ademola Lawrence for us in Lagos. Hello, and thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour. We'll begin with the nationwide protests embarked on by the Nigeria Labour Congress and other labor unions. Despite several appeals by government and concerned individuals, organized labor made good its threat. Labor unions are currently at the National Assembly seeking audience of the lawmakers. The protest earlier began at the Unity Fountain, where NLC President Joe Ajaero stated that the rally is part of the NLC's commitment to ensure there is unity within all labor unions with regard to their request from government. He also stated that they will continue to fight for the rights of Nigerians, especially to kick against the recent hike in price of petrol. In Kaduna State, heavy security presence can be seen in the state capital as members of the NLC joined their counterparts in protest over the hike in petrol price. Additional security personnel have also been deployed to potential hotspots to ensure a peaceful demonstration while protecting lives and property. The NLC members insist the protest is their powerful means of expressing their collective resolve to bring attention to urgent matters. Here in Lagos, workers have joined the protest by NLC as they started their walk from Ikeja heading to the governor's office in Alausa. The protest comes less than 48 hours after President Bola Tinubu addressed the country to roll out some relief packages for the citizens. According to labor leaders, they want more worker-friendly policies by the government. They're also demanding a reversal of all anti-poor policies, including recent price hikes of essential commodities like petrol. TVC News senior correspondent Sharon Ijason monitored the protest here in Lagos and joins us on the news for update. Sharon, where exactly are you and how is organized labor conducting this protest?
Right here at the Lagos State House of Assembly, where the Deputy Governor of Lagos State just received the Charter of Demands by the Nigerian Labour Congress, who was represented by the Deputy President of Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Adewale Adeyonju. The turnout of protesters today was massive, but with the help of the Nigerian police force, we can say that it was a peaceful protest. Today has been intense. We've seen workers with different energy, but at the end of the day, their demands are the same. They are demanding for a reversal of the fuel subsidy removal. They are also requesting that if the fuel subsidy removal has to stay, that there must be palliative put in place to cushion the effect on Nigerian workers. For workers in the Lagos State government that work with the Lagos State government, they actually accepted the fact that the Lagos State government has actually reduced the the cost of transportation in the state, but they are also demanding that some level of cash should be paid into their account to cushion the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy. And this is also to remind us of the federal government's intervention. Less than 48 hours ago, the federal government, the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also made announcement of palliative worth more than 500 billion naira, which will be given to the masses. It's going to be distributed between small-scale businesses and also to be distributed to farmers across the country. As we can see here right now, we can see that people are dispersing. We have members of the Nigerian police force actually moving back to their various bases as the protest has officially ended here in Lagos State.
All right. So what is the next plan of action for organized labor? Is this just a one-off protest, or are they seeking to continue staying off work in the days ahead?
No, it's just a one-day protest. However, conversation would continue moving forward. There are lots of committees in place to talk about palliatives for the Nigerian workers. And they believe that this conversation that has been going on for about a month should be hastened so that Nigerians will be able to plan better on how they will continue their daily activities.
All right. Now that the Charter of Demand, has been submitted to the Deputy Governor, as you mentioned earlier, what reassurances did they give to the protesters?
The Deputy Governor of Lagos State assured that the Charter of Demands would definitely be delivered to the Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for onward transmission to the President of Nigeria. He also acknowledged the fact that negotiation is still ongoing, and for many Nigerian workers, they hope that portfolios will be given out to the ministerial nominees in good time so that robust conversation can take place. Because for a robust conversation to take place, you need the Minister of Labour, you need the Ministry of Labour, you also need the organized private sector and also the workers themselves to ensure that whatever agreement that is reached will be holistic and everybody will be carried along.
All right, and finally, Sharon, how did that protest impact traffic on that axis?
Well, because the Nigerian police force was actually on ground, we had lots of men on ground to ensure that there is orderliness in the state. The only axis that experienced a little bit of traffic will be Alausa connecting to Allen roundabout, and it was orderly. The Nigerian police force were on ground. Men of the RRS Rapid Response Squad were on ground to ensure that there is orderliness, that the workers comported themselves well, and also the motorists also knew what was happening, and they actually had patience and they followed instructions from the Nigerian police force. So in total, it was peaceful. Right now, as we speak, there is free flow of traffic. Most of the effect of the protest earlier on in the day has eased off.
Our senior correspondent Sharon Ijason for us there in Abuja, in Lagos rather. Thank you very much, Sharon, for that update.